We live in a society where most popular movies are defined not by original work, but by existing IP. You can make a movie about a game board and it will be one of the highest grossing films of the year. The Super Mario Bros. Movie is the perfect example to discuss this matter. Based on a highly successful video game franchise that dates back to the arcade game Donkey Kong in 1981. It has since spawned many spin-off games like Luigi's Mansion, Mario Bros, Mario Kart, TV shows, a live-action film, comic books, and now a new animated movie. So based on the fan base, this movie is guaranteed to make money at the box office. There's no way it doesn't, and to top that, just look at the voice cast. Chris Pratt as Mario? It's a no-brainer. Jack Black as Bowser? Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong? Now there's no way this is going to fail, and guess what? It doesn't. It becomes the second highest grossing film of 2023, behind Barbie, another film based on an existing IP, or to be precise, a fashion doll from the 50s. The entertainment landscape in 2023 was saturated with intellectual property-driven films. From superhero sagas to nostalgic reboots, studios continue to tap into recognizable brands in hopes of instant success. Yet behind this massive financial success lies a creatively hollow experience that speaks volumes about the state of modern cinema, audience expectations, and the increasing dependence on nostalgia and meme culture. What does this say about our creators and consumers? Both are elevating this level of quality to grace our screens. Now you can argue that Barbie surpasses the laziness that movies like Mario Bros possesses, and actually has a creative story, comical entertainment, a good director, and relevant messages that will make the movie timeless, and actually serves as an example as to why it was the highest grossing film of 2023. It actually made the most out of the story. There was depth in the characters. Super Mario Bros. Lacked these qualities, and could have made more money if it was actually good. It was impressive enough though to make over $1 billion in the first place. But that's what adaptations on an IP can do. In today's film industry, originality often takes a backseat to profitability. With rising production costs, increased competition from streaming services, and the unpredictable nature of audience preferences, major studios have become increasingly risk-averse. Rather than investing in new, untested ideas, they lean heavily into pre-existing franchises with built-in audiences, stories that already come with a guaranteed level of recognition and marketability. Adaptations, reboots, sequels, and cinematic universes dominate release schedules, not because they promise groundbreaking storytelling, but because they offer financial security. This strategy has birthed a wave of films that are visually impressive and commercially successful, yet often lack narrative depth, emotional resonance, or artistic ambition. These films are meticulously crafted to appeal to the broadest possible demographic. Vibrant animation, fast-paced editing, recognizable characters, and a steady stream of jokes and action sequences. But in many cases, they are narratively shallow, driven more by brand identity than by storytelling. The goal is less about saying something new, and more about ensuring the audience sees something familiar. The Super Mario Bros. Movie fits squarely within this paradigm. As an adaptation of one of the most iconic video game franchises in history, the film doesn't need to work hard to earn the audience's attention. Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Bowser are already beloved across generations. This brand recognition functions as a safety net. From the moment the movie was announced, it was destined to attract viewers based on name alone. In this context, the film's creator had little incentive to push boundaries or innovate. Instead, they opted for a safe, straightforward, and accessible approach that leaned heavily into fan service. What this creates is a kind of cinematic experience where spectacle replaces substance. The Super Mario Bros. Movie is colourful, fast-paced, and visually polished. It's designed to dazzle the eye and keep the momentum going at all costs. But underneath the gloss, it lacks meaningful character arcs, emotional depth, or thematic richness. Mario's journey through the Mushroom Kingdom doesn't reveal anything about who he is as a person or how he grows through adversity. He begins as a well-meaning underdog, and he ends as a well-meaning underdog with a slightly higher jump. There's little transformation, no real internal conflict, and minimal character development. This creative hollowness is a common trait in many IP-based films today. Rather than telling stories that stand on their own, they rely on a kind of cultural shorthand, familiar faces, musical cues, visual references to fill in the emotional gaps. The assumption is that the audience's pre-existing connection to the characters will do the heavy lifting. If people have fond memories of playing Super Mario 64 or Mario Kart, they'll feel a sense of joy just seeing those elements on screen, even if the film doesn't earn that emotional response through its own narrative. This trend speaks to a broader shift in audience behavior. Many modern viewers, especially younger ones raised on social media and short-form content, prioritize entertainment value and visual appeal over plot complexity or character nuance. Nostalgia plays a massive role here. It's easier and more comforting to revisit something familiar than to engage with something new. Studios have learned to capitalize on this emotional currency. They know that tapping into a collective cultural memory is more reliable than trying to create a new one. In this context, the Super Mario Bros. Movie isn't just a film, it's a product. It's a meticulously engineered piece of IP exploitation designed to appeal across markets and age groups. There's nothing inherently wrong with making movies that are fun and accessible, but when the pursuit of profit completely overrides artistic ambition, the medium suffers. Stories stop being vehicles for meaning or self-expression and become content delivery systems. Stories stop being vehicles for meaning or self-expression and become content delivery systems. The film opens with promise. The animation is striking, the world building is immersive, and the introduction to the Mushroom Kingdom feels whimsical and adventurous. The setup introduces Mario and Luigi in Brooklyn as underdog plumbers trying to make a name for themselves. There's potential for emotional depth here, an immigrant story, a tale of brotherhood and perseverance. But this is quickly brushed aside. As Mario is separated from Luigi and thrust into the Mushroom Kingdom, the plot speeds up and prioritizes action over character development. The initial excitement of seeing familiar characters like Princess Peach, Toad, and Bowser fades as the story meanders without clear stakes or character arcs. Instead of deepening its world or exploring its characters, the movie shifts focus to spectacle. Big battles, vibrant landscapes, and countless Easter eggs that cater to fans of the games. The journey, which should be transformative, becomes a shallow tour of recognizable set pieces with little emotional payoff. One of the film's most glaring issues is its lack of narrative focus. Mario's journey through the Mushroom Kingdom is visually dynamic but emotionally stagnant. There are no real stakes driving the story. Yes, Luigi is kidnapped, but the relationship between the brothers is so underdeveloped that the rescue mission feels more obligatory than heartfelt. There's no internal conflict or growth in Mario's character. He begins the film as a plucky underdog and ends it in the same way. His successes come not from personal transformation but from external action sequences and convenient plot devices. Good storytelling requires characters to evolve, to face challenges that test their values, force them to confront their fears and ultimately change them. But the Super Mario Bros. Movie doesn't invest in that journey. Instead, it coasts on action and nostalgia, offering a flat emotional arc that fails to resonate beyond the theatre. One of the most talked about aspects of the film is its plethora of Easter eggs and game references. Every scene is packed with nods to the franchise's history, power-ups, level designs, musical cues, and even obscure character cameos. While these moments undoubtedly thrilled longtime fans, they often came at the expense of storytelling. The film leans so heavily on referencing its source material that it forgets to craft a story of its own. This is emblematic of a larger trend in IP-driven films. Rather than exploring new themes or perspectives, these movies often become treasure hunts for references, rewarding viewers not for engaging with the story, but for recognizing callbacks. It's a kind of cinematic trivia game, where recognition becomes more valuable than narrative cohesion. The problem is that these references, no matter how cleverly inserted, are not a substitute for a plot, character, or emotion. Another key factor in the film's popularity was its presence in meme culture even before its release. The announcement that Chris Pratt would be voicing Mario drew widespread attention, sparking debates and jokes across social media. The casting of other characters, Jack Black as Bowser, Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach, and Charlie Day as Luigi, added to the conversation, keeping the film in the public eye for months. This kind of pre-release buzz, driven by controversy and curiosity, undoubtedly contributed to the film's box office success, but it also reveals another dimension of modern moviegoing. Hype is often more important than quality. The conversation around the Super Mario Bros. Movie became a self-perpetuating meme machine, with viral clips, reactions, and parodies spreading across platforms like TikTok and Twitter. In many ways, the film's popularity mirrors the viral nature of its source material. Mario has long been a staple of internet culture, from speedruns and mods to animated parodies. The movie didn't need to be good, it just needed to be part of the conversation. And in that regard, it succeeded spectacularly. The Super Mario Bros. Movie is not an outlier. It's a symptom of a broader shift in the film industry and audience behavior. In an era where content is consumed rapidly and shared instantly, movies are increasingly designed for maximum visibility rather than maximum impact. Studios prioritize marketability, fan service, and franchise potential over artistic risk or narrative depth. But this trend also raises important questions. What happens when storytelling becomes secondary? When films are no longer about characters, growth, or meaning, but about brand recognition and social media clout? And what does it say about us as viewers that we continue to reward these trends? In the end, the Super Mario Bros. Movie is a paradox. It is both a commercial triumph and a creative disappointment. It is entertaining in bursts, visually delightful, and full of nostalgic charm. But it is also narratively thin, emotionally shallow, and overly reliant on references. It represents both the best and worst of modern filmmaking, the power of nostalgia and brand loyalty, and the decline of originality and depth. The film had the ingredients for something great: a rich world, beloved characters, and an eager audience. But instead of crafting a meaningful story, it settled for safe, crowd-pleasing entertainment. It's not a terrible film per se, but it is a forgettable one, and in a world where movies can be both art and commerce, that feels like a missed opportunity.